So what do you do if your mortgage company is returning your payments because they disagree over how much you owe? Hi, I'm attorney Sean Mays. Stick around. We're going to go over my recommendations on what you should do if your mortgage bank is just refusing to accept payments on your loan. Hi, if you haven't met, I'm attorney Sean Mays. I am an attorney in Pennsylvania, and I help people deal with debt and debt issues like mortgage foreclosure. This week I had a trial in Philadelphia, and it was a foreclosure trial, but it wasn't very typical in that it wasn't a case where my client just stopped making payments. The mortgage company actually took those checks and mailed them straight back to the borrower. So what do you do? What do you do when your bank refuses to take the money that you're trying to give them, and they just go ahead and foreclose anyway? Well, it happens, and it typically happens when the mortgage company disputes the amount that you owe. In this case, the mortgage company says that they raised his payment amount. And then when he sent in the wrong payment amount, they foreclosed. They returned the check to him and asked for another check. And when he sent him another check, by that time, they had already referred it to their foreclosure attorneys. What do you do in that scenario? And we actually had a good result yesterday. The judge agreed that the payments should not have been refused, that the servicing of the loan was sloppy, and he actually reduced the principal balance of the loan by a significant amount, by over $20,000, which is a pretty good result. But, and here's the giant but, if you don't save those mortgage payments while you're disputing it, then even taking $20,000 off the balance might not help. And here's why. Because, when your mortgage lender forecloses, they add a ton of fees. They add attorney fees. They add late fees. And if it turns out that those are wrongfully added, you can convince a court to strip those off, to take off attorney fees and to take off late fees. But most judges, especially here in Pennsylvania, are still going to want to see that you make up the missed payments that should have been paid while you were in foreclosure. And the only real way to do that is to save those mortgage payments that you would normally be making and put them into either a savings account or a separate account entirely so that you don't touch them. So that when the dispute is resolved, that you can write a check to your bank for the missed payments. I have a lot of clients that come in, they go through hard times and maybe they fall behind a little bit and they try to catch up. And during that time, their bank refuses to take the payments on their mortgage. Typically, it's because once you're behind a month or two or three, the banks typically have a policy of all or nothing. Either you pay us every dollar that you owe us, or we don't take a dime. And it can be difficult to try to catch up. And then once you get back on your feet financially, if it was an illness or a temporary loss of employment, the bank won't take the money. It's frustrating. But the real important thing to do here is to take those normal monthly payments that you should be making and that the bank should be accepting and save them to the best of your ability. That way, if there's a dispute that's resolved, if it goes to foreclosure and you're able to show the judge, look, I've been saving my monthly payments, the chances are much, much greater that it can be resolved in your favor, that fees can be removed, late fees can be removed, attorney's fees can be removed. And you can get back on your feet that way. In this case, like I said this week, we were able to knock off over 20 grand off the mortgage. And in a scenario like that, that was more than the attorney fees that were being charged. That was more than the late fees. It actually reduced the principal balance of the loan somewhat. So in that scenario, if you're able to save the money that you would normally be paying into your mortgage company, you can actually get back on your feet pretty quickly and recover from that. So once again, my name is Sean Mays. If you have any questions, comments, or anything you'd like to write below, please do. Once again, if you got to suggest any kind of content for a future video, let me know and we'll talk about it. Thanks.